Alex Kirshner, how was your lesson in regression last week, big guy?
Richard Johnson, it was a learning experience, and that's what's really important here. As long as we're betting in responsible amounts, which is something that we very much encourage, we understand that sometimes we're going to
no more than 50% of the bill fold.
absolutely we're going to keep things responsible and understand that every week is not going to be our best week. I went 1-4 last week, but you know what? That's why you go 5-0 the week before.
Amen,
That leaves
brother.
you with a 60% winning percentage on the year, not sweating it, feeling good about getting back to business this week. What about you?
Alex is 6-4 total on the year. I am 5-2. Last week 7-5 on the year total. 58% wins. Let's get this bread for week 3 of the old NFL season. And Alex, both of us are excited about Cowboys Seahawks. You think there's going to be a ton of points. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to keep it close.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points because I watched with horror as an underbetter in this game, the Seahawks-Patriots Sunday night game last week, and watched how the Seahawks appear to be a lot less concerned through the first 2 weeks of this season than they have in the past with establishing the run. They seem to be opening things up much more. The Patriots offense is more than fully operational 2 weeks into the Cam Newton era. So that game was just an epic points fest. I think the Cowboys are scoring too.
My live fire on the show last
very
week.
nice. It did work at my expense.
Richard,
of course, saw me taking the under. He took the over. I think that the Cowboys offense probably even more potent than the Patriots offense. I think the Seahawks are going to continue to play a very wide open, pass-oriented brand of offense that is not really in step with what we've seen from them before. So I think there's going to be points. And I think that at 55, and I think that's moved in some places like to 55.5, but you can still get it at 55 as we record this on Thursday. I think it's a good value play for me. Tell me, you have
55 is a lot of doggone points.
It's a lot of points, but I think these guys can get there. You have the Cowboys staying within 4.5 in this game.
I do. I think the Cowboys honestly may win this game outright because I believe quite strongly in the Cowboys. But 55 divided by 2 is 27.5. So roughly 28-24 game. You think you can go over that?
I think a 28-24 game sounds pretty plausible, and well, let's do some math in our head. That wouldn't be good, so we'd need another touchdown on that, but I think there's a decent chance. I think there's a decent chance we could get there, and I don't, I was burned so badly by the under in a Seahawks game last week, and earlier in the day I watched Dallas score approximately 1 million points in the second half against Atlanta, and I just feel pretty good about riding with these two offenses, and I'm not overly preoccupied with their defenses, even though Seattle has a good one.
All right. I'm taking the Cowboys plus 4.5. Again, I think the Cowboys could end up winning this game, but I think this game will be close either way, and I love the 4.5 number because Cowboys could just lose by a field goal, and then I cash. So, we love to see it. Okay, moving on to the games that we have different this week. Look, we all know your boy is a Jags fan. So last week, before the week 2 games even kicked off, last week when I saw the Jags were at a pick'em against the Dolphins, I fired. I fired before the Jaguars even played the Titans, and the Jaguars cashed that plus 10 against the Titans that we took. They also cashed the plus 8 that was the consensus by kickoff. Anyway, I took the Jaguars pick'em over the Dolphins. That line has moved. It is the Thursday night game, and I believe the line is at 3 right now. I want it, for posterity's sake, put up to the screen. This is the time and the date we're recording this. It's about 11:30.
That's 11:29 Eastern on Thursday. Okay.
AM. The game has not happened yet, so whenever you're watching this video, understand that I took the Jaguars before the Thursday night game against the Dolphins. Pick 'em. It's moved to Jaguars as a 3-point favorite. So the line. So I have, I've gotten 3 points of value on that line. That's why, if you fire early on stuff, if you're passionate about stuff and you fire early, you can get some serious value. I mean, that's some value for an NFL game that is pretty tough to get. Pretty tough to get.
Well, I'm seeing this as I look here on my screen, still seeing an opportunity to get this at Jaguars -3. And, I think that what's the worst that's going to happen to me if I just join you on this? Like a push? I mean, actually, the worst that would happen is I would lose. But
yes,
you know what?
the worst thing that
You know
happens
what?
both of us. But I
You know what?
legitimately think the Jaguars are going to win this game tonight. You see it over my
You think
shoulder.
they're
Duval till we die. Duval
you
till
think
we
they're
die.
gonna
We
like
got
whip
that
them? Like
life.
it's gonna be like pretty bad?
I think the Jaguars could win this game by like 10 points. I
All right.
legitimately think
You
the
know what?
Jaguars are that much better than the Dolphins.
I will live fire on this show because it worked for you
Oh,
last
baby.
week, and
Oh,
we are gonna
baby. He's
punch. We are
following me
gonna
into the
punch down
breach.
here. We're seeing all over the place. Jaguars -3. You can get that at +100 at FanDuel if you act quickly. Let's go ahead and mark that down, and let's do Jaguars -3. Even though I didn't find value like Richard did.
Welcome to the obsession that is trying to figure out when the Jaguars will actually put it all together tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's tonight.
I'm going to stay in the AFC South for my next game. I'm going to take the Texans +4 at the Pittsburgh Steelers, my Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a feel pick for me as someone who has watched a lot of Steelers games and a lot of Deshaun Watson games. I don't see Deshaun Watson easily letting the Texans go to 0-3. He is not only one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's a real fighter. You're not supposed to bet based on someone being a fighter, but given that I've seen the Steelers so many times let teams that they should beat by a touchdown or more hang around with them for very long stretches, and in the case of the Broncos last weekend, cover, I feel okay at more than a field goal, at more than that key number, with the Texans as 4-point underdogs to take Houston in this game. And I'm going to ride with that. And it's, I guess somewhat of an emotional hedge for me as a Pittsburgh guy, but I feel good about it. Tell me your next one.
Faith in your Steelers.
No, I have faith in the Steelers as a long-term play this year. I think they could win the AFC North, but I don't have faith that they're going to cover against teams that they should beat by, more than they probably will.
I think the Steelers are going to get the Texans, to be honest with you. I think Deshaun Watson is going to be running for his life on Sunday against the Steelers teams that is going to blitz just the doors off the Texans.
The Steelers very nearly lost to Jeff Driscoll on Sunday. You're familiar with Jeff Driscoll as a Florida man.
I'm intimately familiar with Jeff Driscoll.
In a way that most people will never have the misfortune of understanding how familiar you are with Jeff Driscoll as your team's quarterback. The Steelers almost lost to him, and Deshaun Watson is much more capable. So I am going with the Texans. Tell me where you are going with your next game.
I am going to Monday night. I'm taking the Chiefs 3.5 over Baltimore. I think that's probably going to be the game of the season. But if you give me and Patrick Mahomes 3.5 points across that key number, I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
If you and Patrick Mahomes together get those points,
we are going to win on Monday night.
Yeah, I couldn't bet against that. That's fair. I am going to take in another game this week. You just mentioned the game of the year between probably the two best teams in the NFL. Do you know who is not one of the two best teams in the NFL and who, in fact, may be a bottom 3 team in the NFL? The Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, the hot take.
I bet on them last weekend as, I believe, 3-point dogs playing the Colts, and that did not pan out, did not come close to panning out. I watched just a bit of that and looked over some of the numbers around that game. These guys suck. They are very bad. And they are playing at home against a Titans offense that continues to be just no fun to deal with at all.
Trust me, I know. I watched the game last week against the Jaguars.
A bruising bunch of fellows up there in the Titans front. And 1.5 is just not a lot of points. I think that one has also wiggled up somewhat in a lot of places, but not very much. I like Tennessee. I really don't like Minnesota. I just think that they're terrible. And against a likely playoff team at less than a field goal, given the way the Vikings have looked through 2 weeks, I'm going to bet against them.
All right. Kirk Cousins by adjusted net yards per attempt of quarterbacks that have thrown more than 25 throws in a game over the last decade. Kirk Cousins last week against the Colts was legitimately one of the worst performances by that metric. It was awful. The team that Kirk Cousins and company lost to week 1, the Packers, I'm taking the Packers +3 over the Saints. I think the Packers could jump out to some sort of lead here, and I am pretty worried about Drew Brees' noodle arm and trying to chase this game, particularly without Michael Thomas. I think guys are getting open downfield for the Saints, but Drew Brees is not hitting them, and I think that is a problem. I'm rolling with the Packers in this one. This is the Sunday night game, right?
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think
that would make sense. Yeah.
I think it is. So I'm taking the Packers here.
Surely that's a national TV game that just about the whole country can watch because those are two very marketable quarterbacks and very marketable football organizations. I am going to take, I think in my last bet of the week, unless we just get taken by the Spirit sometime on Sunday morning, the Patriots -6 against the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't trust the Raiders defense. You just mentioned Drew Brees' issues and a relative lack of trust in him at the moment. The Saints played the Raiders last week. In 2 weeks, the Raiders defense the Raiders have given up 54 points to the Panthers, who are bad, the Saints, who are probably good but don't have Michael Thomas, and have Drew Brees looking like he really cannot push the ball more than a couple yards downfield. I just don't think it's a great Raiders defense. And on the other hand, I think that this Cam Newton Patriots offense is maybe not fully operational yet, but looks to be very much in the swing of things.
Good enough.
It has not taken long for Cam to look like his best self. And so at less than a touchdown and a PAT and playing at home as the Patriots are this week, I like them.
For my last pick of the week, I'm going back to the total well, and I'm going back to the total well with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, they were, I think, half a point off of hitting the total last week against the Panthers that I took. So I ended up losing that bet. I think we're going to cash this week because I think the Bucs can score a lot of points considering they dropped, I believe, 3 touchdowns, at least 2. Pretty good Tom Brady throws in the end zone last week. I think we connect. I think we get over 43. I think 43 is such a low number in this game. I'm digging it. I'm taking it.
So we are talking, I think, too much about Jeff Driscoll on this show that we might have to slap like a Motion Picture Association of America rating on this weekly gambling show. But do you trust Denver to get? I mean, let's say that the Bucs score 35. I mean, do we think Denver gets to 10 points in this game? I guess.
I think Denver can get a turnover and short field a touchdown and then get a field goal in some way, shape, or form. I think Denver can get me 10 points. I think Denver maybe can get me 2 touchdowns. But I do think the Bucs will be doing the lion's share of the effort here. I think the Bucs can get 35 points, maybe even 40 in this game, legitimately.
You know what? You've convinced me for a second time on this show. I'm gonna see if I can still get this at whatever number at 43. And if I can get it at 43 with anything, any kind of decent price, and I'm going to look on Odds Checker here to do that, I might ride with you on this one as well, and we'll mark that down below this video on the website.
He's looking at oddschecker.us right now. What you got?
Oddschecker.com/US. I'm gonna just follow you in the battle. That's gonna be my last bet. I guess that makes 5 for me on the week. 2 of which are me following you. So we're kind of going into battle together this weekend.
Boy, this is going to be tough. Once more into the breach, Alex Kirshner. I will see you next week.
Let's see you next week.